but now it's time for a kinder, gentler world. And
Yep.
if COVID has taught us anything, let's take the good side out of this. When the light comes around again, let's be there to bask in it.
That's right. Yeah. Well, and not even the customer side either, because I'm reminded of, I've been hearing a lot of press about businesses having a hard time hiring people right now to get people to come back after COVID. And I imagine part of your program would help with that too, because of course people would want to work for an H2H business over another business. So is that kind of part of what you're trying to do too?
Well, it's interesting, Amanda, because we have a certain demographic. The people that know us, who understand us, are people, this is a generalization. We're only looking at demographics. I'm not looking at anybody in particular. So when we look at people that accept what our broad concept of what's happening, are people who are in the wellness industry, people that are in health, teachers, people with a high empathy IQ or EQ, and the under 30s.
Yeah.
You know, it's the under 30 group who's brought up highly idealistic by boomers for the most part, and not boomers, but Gen Xers, and who are exactly so. These are the new group. These are the new young people that are coming up. They're highly idealistic.
Yeah.
They understand how the world works. They understand how technology works. So they're going to be the ones leading us into this whole into this new shift of consciousness and technology. Yeah. They're the ones that are going to be showing us how to do this. And as a boomer, like I am, you know, we need to provide wisdom, and we need to provide knowledge, and then we need to provide guidance, and then we sort of need to just sort of like get out of the way and let these people do what was meant to do, so real change can happen.
Yeah,
I saw that you said that on LinkedIn the other day, or you shared that video of that high school graduate, I think it was. And you said boomers just lead and share some wisdom and get out of the way. I know, it's so true.
You've made your money. You've done well. You've hoarded. You know, and I'm one of them.
Yeah,
you know, so I get it. But now it's time for a kinder, gentler world. And if COVID has taught us anything, let's take the good side out of this. When the light comes around again, let's be there to bask in it.
That's right. Yeah.
I love that. Well, we did an episode recently. We had one of Amanda's friends, Sergio, come in, and he was a Gen Z. So it's kind of Amanda, the Gen X, I'm a millennial, Sergio is a Gen Z. And we were talking to what you're saying, you know, that the generations have always kind of been like, right, well, I'm a baby boomer, or, you know, so I'm just going to kind of focus on what's important to me and my generation. You know, I'm not going to listen to those damn millennials or Gen Zs or whatever it is. But we talked about the importance of those, you know, different generations harmonizing and working together, because everyone has different strengths, you know. So I think that's really important to say, is that the baby boomers have a lot of wisdom and you know, knowledge to pass on. So at the same time, millennials can't say, okay, maybe you're not as good with technology, again generalizing, but, you know, so I'm not going to listen to you. There's a lot of wisdom there that the millennials and the next generation need to tap into as well.
I could not agree with you more. And I think when we all sit back and look at this in another generation and look back at this time, and we're going to say, oh, you know what? The timing is right, because the boomers I'm at the tail end of a boomer. So boomers are now moving away from the workforce, and they're going to be moving away from Earth, let's face it, soon, within the next generation. Mm-hmm. But certainly their influence in the business world is going to be waning. And then there's going to be this huge influx of transfer of wealth and property to the next generation.
Yeah.
What we do with that wealth and with all that wealth will determine in some ways how we evolve as a society. And if we use that money in the right way, or that influence or that wealth in the right way, and we give some of that to the under 30 group, or the 30 group and under right now, who's going to be making change in the next generation.
Yeah.
It's going to be very uncomfortable for boomers, but it's going to be, you don't have change without some sort of uncomfortability.
Of course.
Anytime there's change, some eggs are going to get broken. That's just the way change happens. And we haven't had a shift like this since maybe I would say the 60s, where we had that huge movement, which also came in with the informational age.
Yeah.
But now we're on a quantum leap compared to that now with information and just the amount of data that we have access to and where technology is going to be going.
Yeah. So where do you see it going in your crystal ball over there? Where do you see, or I guess, and not even where do you see it going, but how do you see COVID impacting where we're going next?
Okay, that's a good question, Amanda, because I think what COVID has done, let's forget about the social issues that we're all having within our homes and what we need to do to really examine ourselves, and not so much the bottom dollar, which is the second part of your question.
Yeah.
But we need to be able to look after ourselves, our wellness of ourselves, our well-being is so important. And we've noticed that's been suffered over this time. We realized, what have we been doing for the last 2 generations or 3 generations? In fact, you can go way back, because we're not actually working less or harder or more. It's just that we're getting more and more stressed in the workforce.
Right.
And people are just looking at their jobs as a source of existence.
Yep.
And it shouldn't be that way. One of the things I always say, if you have a good bed and you enjoy your job, there's 2/3 of your life looked right after. There's 2/3 of your life that you don't even have to worry about.
That's right. Yeah.
So I had a conversation with a coach from Finland today, and we were saying, I'm diverting, I'm tangenting here. He said, so if you had why are we spending as much money on our beds as we are on our cars? Because if you're going to spend 6 to 9 hours in a room or your bed, why not make it the most luxurious thing that you could possibly own?
That's right.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress. So.
Well, no, but that is a good point, because even just sleep is so important. And I think sleep even has been put on the back burner so much, because there's all this, work 16-hour days and all this pride in if you could get 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night and go on that. And I feel like maybe that's going to hopefully go away a little bit. Now.
I certainly hope so.
I certainly hope so too.
I think so too, because if you do have your job satisfaction and you do have a comfortable bed, it's those 8 hours between those two things that you really have to look after.
Yeah.
So what is that? That's your well-being. That's your family. These are your relationships. This is your mental health. Mm-hmm. So if you are happy if you are happy at the workplace and you feel fulfilled at what you're doing, then wouldn't it be great if you went home and be able to take all that great feelings to your spouse, to your kids, to yourself, like be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Get your sleep, be with friends, eat the good food, enjoy the wine, go out there and enjoy life. That's what we're here for. We're not here to work. We're here to part of living is work, but we're not here just to work.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think moving to get to the second part of your question, Amanda.
Yeah.
What does technology do? What's technology going to do? Well, I think the knowledge industry is going to go through the roof.
Yeah.
The knowledge industry is going to go crazy. We're going to be doing more things like as we're doing them right now. Don't get me wrong. Someone's still got to come to your house and build your deck, but someone's going to build a better deck. Someone's going to do something better, because they're going to have more time to be looking at, how can I make this better?
Right.
How can I make this more sustainable? How can I do this without chopping down the trees in the Amazon?
Yeah.
So people are going to be looking at things and saying, and then it's hopefully it snowballs through education, snowballs into eating better, looking after your mental well-being, looking after your physical well-being, and then your life should be fairly idyllic. Now we know that's not always the case, but at least we're going to give everybody a fighting chance that's in our program to be able to acknowledge that the goodness that can come from this is there for you. All you have to do is make the decision to reach out and grab it.
Right.
music to my ears, this stuff, like especially around the work and the positive impact that can have, not just to the community, but, you know, in your home life and all those things. Because I think that's something that's missed. And we talk about this on the show a lot. And obviously having understanding for why people settle and stay in work that's not fulfilling for them. Because sometimes you don't have that opportunity. You might not be lucky enough to just be able to go out and find what's right for you. So we have the utmost understanding for those people. But for people that do have the opportunity, you know, to step out and maybe do something more meaningful, that's so powerful. And I think about, you know, to your point of just fulfilling work, it's like that's a protective factor for your mental health. Like if you are enjoying what you do, you get out of bed every day and you think, I'm living with purpose, I'm giving back to my community. It doesn't feel like work because you're like, I'm just getting all the rewards I need, and it's good for it. It flows out to everyone. And I just think people need to appreciate that doing work, as you said, just existing at work and kind of almost adhering to this culture of busyness. You know, I just see so many folks around that are just so busy for the sake of being busy, telling everyone, I love how busy I am, just stressed out, exhausted. And I'm like, we need to disconnect from that. Like that's the new age that I hope we move to after COVID settles, I guess, you know, where we're actually living in the way that you're talking about. It just sounds very, you know, the next step after COVID, I think, is that.
Well,